पादाय कृष्ण पृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी निधि नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. Hare Krishna. Welcome all of you. Thank you all very much for your participation. And once again, welcome all of you to our daily Bhagavad Gita reading session. We are discussing chapter 2 of Bhagavad Gita. So far in chapter 2, let us have a quick look into the sections, how it is divided. Like chapter 1, it is also divided in 5 sections. In chapter 1, we saw towards the end, Arjuna has given 4 arguments of not fighting. And continuing this discussion forward, in the first section of chapter 2, from verse number 1 to 10, we see further Arjuna's further arguments why he is not willing to fight. So this is his indecisive nature. So he tells that his knowledge are not are insufficient for him to really take a decision whether it is what is good for him, what is dharma for him, what should he do, fight or not fight. And that's how he will surrender to Krishna in the first section. And in the second section, from verse number 11 to 30, so this talks of Krishna here gives the knowledge of soul, the self-knowledge or Atma-jnana through the analytical study of matter and spirit. Then in third section, Krishna gives the knowledge about Sakama Karma, how someone dutifully doing his duty ultimately gets enjoyment. And that from verse number 31 to 38. Of course, this is not Krishna's highest recommendation, but so as to refute the Arjuna's arguments, so he is building up the philosophies. Then in the third section, Krishna will speak about Niskama Karma, work with detachment. So that is from verse number 39 to 53. Hey Arjuna, ultimately you are qualified to do Niskama Karma Yoga, because if you do not have any expectation out of your work and dutifully work, then you will not get bound by the reaction. Okay? So there is no question of sinful reaction. And in the fifth section, we will discuss the various qualities of such personality who is already fixed in Krishna consciousness. Because Niskama Karma Yoga can be easily performed by those who are already fixed in one-pointed intelligence. This is called Sthita Prajna, or person fixed in Krishna consciousness. So this is how the chapter is divided. Now we are discussing the first section and second verse, in fact. Okay, we are in. So let us quickly jump to the second verse. Sri Bhagavan Uvacha Kutastva Kasmalamidam Visame Samapastitam Anarya Justam Aswagyam Akirtikaram Arjuna. Hey Arjuna, where from this impurities come upon you? And this is a moment of crisis. Visame, how come at this hour of crisis these impurities come upon you? This kind of thoughts is coming to you. This is Anarya Justam. Why are you behaving like an Anarya? And this will not lead you to the heavenly planets, Aswargyam. And this will also bring infamy to you, Akirtikaram. And we have read the purport. I think half of it we have already discussed. So today we'll beginning from where we left. So we have discussed till this a very famous verse from Brahma Samhita, where Lord Brahma is addressing to Krishna, Ishvara Parama Krishna, Sachidananda Vigraha, Anadir Adir Govinda, Sarva Karana Karana. That Govinda, that cowherd boy, who is the son of Nanda, who gives pleasure to cow and the senses, he is addressed as Govinda. He is Sarva Karana Karana. He is the cause of all causes. He is Anadir. He is Adir. He is Adir, that means he is beginning of everything. He is Anadir, who has no beginning. And he has a form that is Satchit Ananda form. Sat, Chit and Ananda. So that is the composition of it. He is all truthful, he is all knowledgeable, he is fully blissful. So that's the nature of the Supreme Lord. So Vigraha is very important. Vigraha is referred to a form. So that means Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, he has a form. He has personality. Ishvara Parama Krishna. That Krishna is Parameshwara. So we saw that Prabhupada, how he is explaining Bhagavan is the ultimate understanding. One can have three levels of understanding of the same absolute truth. One is at Brahman level, the second is at Paramatma level, third is at Bhagavan level. So Brahman level is experienced by Jnani, Paramatma level is experienced by Yogi, and Bhagavan feature is experienced by the devotees, bhaktas. And we have seen how bhakta or the understanding of Bhagavan feature is the ultimate understanding. And that understanding already includes the Brahman understanding as well as Paramatma understanding. And the Paramatma understanding already includes the Brahman understanding. So that's how it progresses. Okay. So complete or full understanding is Bhagavan understanding. Okay. How you say Krishna, how what is the Brahma Jyoti? From his body, effulgences are coming and spreading all through. Okay. So that is nothing but Brahman. And he talks in Bhagavad Gita, Brahmano hi pratishtaham. I am the basis for this Brahman. And then Paramatma, Krishna speaks, Sarvasya Chaham Hridi Sannivishtam Atasmati Jnanam Apohanam Cha. And so he sits in everybody's heart as Paramatma. Vedesya Sarver Aham Vedya. After studying all the Vedas, it is me to be known. Vedanta Krit Veda Videvacha. And who has created this Veda? I have created Vedas. Why? To know me, how someone can approach me and ultimately come to my realization. So that's the whole essence. So that's the reason we are practicing Bhakti Yoga. We wanted to be Bhaktas because that is the ultimate position of a transcendentalist. Here in Bhagavatam basically a conversation between Sukadev Goswami and Parikshit Maharaj. Again, it is also a nested conversation. That conversation is quoted by, again spoke by the Sutta Goswami to the Naimisharanya sages. So he is quoting or he is stating the same conversation what has taken place by Parikshit Maharaj and Sukadev Goswami. Like here, Arjuna is speaking to Dhritarashtra, the same thing what Krishna has spoken to Arjuna or Arjuna has spoken to Krishna. So those conversations. So this is called Sambhada. The conversation in the Vedic terminology called Sambhada. So here this verse comes in Canto 1, Chapter 3, you know, I think 26 verse. Yeah, 26 verse, 28 verse. So what is this? Ete chamsa kalaha pumsaha Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. Indrari Vyakulam Lokam Mridayanti Yuge Yuge. Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. This is the underlying statement. Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. Swayam means he himself. Krishna means Krishna. Tu, but Bhagavan. Why he is telling this verse? Actually, in response to the questions of Namisara Nasaje, Sutta Goswami has listed various Leela avatars of Supreme Personality of Godhead. And while explaining all the Leela avatars, he also listed Krishna's incarnation in that. Okay. So he started with, you know, Masya, Kurma, Baraha, Nrsimha, Rama, Parshurama, Buddha, Kalki, like that, 24 incarnations or 22 incarnations, such incarnation he has spoken. And then he has also spoken, oh, my dear sages, the incarnations of the Supreme Lord are innumerable. That means there are many, many incarnations. It is not only one. Okay, I have only listed some prominent. This 22, it's not confined to only 22. He comes in every yuga and whenever he desires, multiple times also. Okay, and he is not confined by any state or place. He can come at any place, anywhere in the world. Okay, so he gives this. Then he gives ete chamsa kalaha pumsa. So whatever I had described until now, ete ete means all these incarnations. What I have just spoken. Masya, Kurma, Baraha, Nrsimha, all these. Cha amsa kalaha pumsaha. From for that pumsa means of that personality. Those are either his amsa or kalaha. So what does it mean by amsa and kalaha?
हेलो विवेक प्रभु, क्या हुआ?
सर का कट हो गया, लाइन शायद अभी आ
आवाज
जाएगी।
आनी बंद हो गई।
हाँ, लाइन कट हो
लगता
गई
है
शायद उनकी ना।
चला गया।
ठीक है
अच्छा
सर। हरे कृष्णा प्रभु जी।
I think you lost me for a while, right? Because here I saw power.
Yes, प्रभु जी, yes. Your voice is not audible.
Yeah, now is it okay?
Yes, yes, प्रभु जी, now it's fine.
Okay. Sorry for interruption. Power cut happened, so I got disconnected. Okay, so what we are discussing means here Sutta Goswami is telling to the sages that all these listed incarnations are either Amsa or Kalaha. Amsa means they are either my plenary portions or portions of the plenary portions. Whom? Pumsaha means of that personality. So Sutta Goswami is telling all these listed incarnations, what I just stated, all these 22 incarnations, or even many incarnations, are either plenary portions or portions of the plenary portions of that Supreme Personality, Pumsaha. Who is that Supreme Personality? He's telling that although I have listed Krishna in that, but Krishnastu Bhagavana Swayam. But Krishna is Bhagavana Swayam. So that Pumsaha is Swayam Krishna. So Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. So he is actually the source of all the incarnations. In the Bhagavatam also there is a list of many incarnations of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but Krishna is described as the original personality of Godhead, from whom many incarnations and personality of Godhead expand. All the list of the incarnations of Godhead submitted herewith are either plenary expansions or parts of the plenary expansions of the Supreme Godhead, but Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself. Therefore, Krishna is the Therefore, Krishna is the original Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Absolute Truth, the source of both the Super Soul and the impersonal Brahman. He is the source of both Super Soul and impersonal Brahma. He is the original Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is the Bhagavan. Okay, that's the reason Vyasadeva, while addressing Krishna's statement, he is telling Sri Bhagavan Uvacha. And Srila Prabhupada here is justifying or giving pramana or substantiating, not justifying, sorry, substantiating this through these two pramana. One is from Bhagavatam, another is from Brahma Samhita. How Krishna is the Supreme Personality of God. In the presence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Arjuna's lamentation for his kinsmen is suddenly unbecoming, and therefore Krishna expressed his surprise with the word Kutaha. This is the significance of word Kutaha. Because this is not an ordinary setup. Supreme Personality of Godhead, he is himself present with Arjuna, and he is providing him the service of chariot driver. In that presence also, where from this importance is coming to Arjuna, where from this impurities is coming to Arjuna. So that is the significance of Kuta. Such impurities were never expressed from a person belonging to the civilized class of men known as Aryans. This is not befitting to Aryans. The word Aryan is applicable to persons who know the value of life and have a civilization based on spiritual realization. So Aryans are those who really understand the value of life, and they have a civilization which is based upon the spiritual culture. Ultimately, that civilization, all of them who are living there, should lead to spiritual realization. So that's the civilization of Aryans. Persons who are led by the material conception of life do not know that the aim of life is realization of the absolute truth, Vishnu or Bhagavan. and they are captivated by the external features of the material world, and therefore they do not know what liberation is. So why people do not know what liberation is and why they do not strive for it? Because they are too much attracted to the material conception of life. So that is basically taking away their focus, so that they do not able to understand what is life's real purpose. They are too much captivated by. If your attention is too much captivated by something, you will be only consumed through that only. You cannot see anything beyond that. You know. So sometimes you might all experience that a young boy or a young girl, while seeing the entire public, but sometimes if some beauty is captivated her or his eye, he or she only will be seeing that person. Rest other, while he is seeing, but he is not able to see. Because his or her attention is very much captivated by that person, that person's beauty. So similarly, Krishna and his realization is the ultimate realization, and that's the whole purpose of life. But still, we are ignorant about that. We are not able to see that. Why? Because if our attention or focus is very much consumed in these external features of the material world, then how come we will be able to see? That's the meaning. Persons who have no knowledge of liberation from material bondage are called non-Aryans. And those who are too much captivated by the external features of the material world, actually they are non-Aryans, they are anarya. It may sound very harsh and awkward, but that's the truth. So, fortunately, by the grace of the Vaishnavas, Krishna, Srila Prabhupada, and devotees, Vaishnavas, we are able to read Bhagavad Gita daily, and we are trying to cultivate that spiritual culture. Although Arjuna was a Kshatriya, he was deviating from his prescribed duties by declining to fight. Being a Kshatriya, Kshatriya means Shata Trayate iti Kshatriya, who gives protection to the Kshata, means to a society. So, Kshatriya, okay, or who protects someone from being attacked, okay, that is also Kshatriya. So that means he has to counter the enemies. His prescribed duty is to fight against the evil, fight against the vices, and always stood firm for the virtue or the righteousness. But this act of cowardice is described as befitting the non-Aryans. So, Aryans means who knows the value of life. And the social setup was like that. Four such orders are there. Sudra, Vaishya, Kshatriya, and Brahmana. So these divisions we had already discussed how all of them are goal towards spiritual realization. By doing their prescribed duties, a harmonious civilization will be built around where everybody will have a chance for God realization. Okay, that's the reason whomsoever belonging to all this four order is not doing his prescribed duty, so that means he is not cooperating with the social order. So that means he is anarya. Okay. And this is an act of cowardice. For a Kshatriya, declining fight is an act of cowardice. Such deviation from duty does not help one in the progress of spiritual life. Nor does it even give one the opportunity to become famous in this world. How a behavior or act of cowardice will fetch fame? No, it will bring only infamy. Lord Krishna did not approve of the so-called compassion of Arjuna for his kinsman. Why Arjuna is committed to this act of cowardice? Because of his compassion towards his kinsman. But Krishna does not approve this compassion. He is telling that these compassions are so-called compassion. They are not real compassion. Because why? Real compassion, we just read in the verse 1, real compassion should be the compassion for the soul. So real compassion is the compassion for the soul. That means to save the drowning man. Here this so-called compassion towards his kinsmen are in the bodily platform, that is like the compassion towards the dress of a drowning person. So this is not real compassion. Let us go to verse number 3. क्लेप्यं मास्मगमः पार्थ नैत्यत्वया उपपद्यते क्षुद्रं हृदय दौर्बल्यं त्यक्त्वा तिष्ठा परन्तप. Please join with me. क्लेप्यं मास्मगमः पार्थ
क्लेबमासमागमः पार्थ
नैत्यत्वया उपपद्यते
नेतत्वोपपद्यते
क्षुद्रं हृदय दौर्बल्यं
क्षुद्रं हृदय दौर्बल्यं
त्यक्तोत्तिष्ठ परन्तप.
त्यक्तोत्तिष्ठ परन्तप.
Very good. क्लैब्यं मास्मगमः पार्थ
क्लेबमासमागमः पार्थ
न एतत्तय उपपद्यते
न तवे उपपद्यते
क्षुद्रं हृदय दौर्बल्यं
क्षुद्रं हृदय दौर्बल्यं
त्यक्तोत्तिष्ठ परन्तप.
सत्योत्तिष्ठ परन्तप.
Very good. क्लैब्यं मास्मगमः पार्थ
क्लेबमासमागमः पार्थ
नैत्यत्वय उपपद्यते
न तव उपपद्यते
क्षुद्रं हृदय दौर्बल्यं
क्षुद्रं हृदय दौर्बल्यं
त्यक्तोत्तिष्ठ परन्तप.
तकोत्तिष्ठ परन्तप.
Very good. Thank you. Tyaktotistha parantapa. Tyakta. Utistha. Utistha. Why Krishna is telling Utistha? Because Arjuna, Sanjay said that Eva Mukta Arjuna Sankhe Rathopasta Upavisat. He has sat down in the chariot. So Krishna is telling, O Parantapa, O subduer of the enemies. He is giving confidence to him. O subduer of enemy, Utistha, stand up. Stand up. How? Tyakto, Tyakta, Hridaya Darbalyam. So these compassion are petty weakness of the heart. Please give up, Tyakta. Shudram, Hridaya Darbalyam. These are the petty weakness of the heart. Naetatva upapadyate. These are not befitting to you. You are a Kshatriya. You are Partha. You are son of Pritha. You are son of Kunti Maharani, who is my aunt. So he is reminding him his relationship. You are a Kshatriya. You are a Partha. So this is not befitting you. Klebhyam mas magama Partha. Have you gone importance, Partha? Have you gone importance? So you see such a heavy word. Oh Arjuna, Klebhyam. Have you gone importance? So to a Kshatriya, address him as importance, this is a big insult. So how Krishna is chastising Arjuna? Synonyms. Klebhyam, importance. Mas magama, do not take to. Partha, O son of Pritha, na, never, etad this. Tvai, unto you, upapadyate is befitting. Shudram, petty, hridaya of the heart, daurvalyam, weakness. Tyaktva, giving up. Utistha, get up. Parantapa, O chastiser of the enemies. Translation: O son of Pritha, do not yield to this degrading importance. It does not become you. Give up such petty weakness of heart and arise, O chastiser of the enemy. Klebhyam mas magamaha, do not become too coward. Na etattvaya upapadyate, this is not suitable to you. Partha, O son of Pritha, Shudram Hudava Dorbalyam Tyaktva, give up this temporary weakness of the mind or heart. Utistha, and get up, rise, prepare for the war. Parantapa, O afflictor of enemies. Purport. This is a small purport. I think my time is already up. So maybe tomorrow we will read this. Okay. This is very wonderful purport. Okay, thank you all very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai. Hare Krishna.